Thank you for visiting. This is Glenn Lyvers with the Prolific Press Poets. This is the February 2026. Can you believe it? Wow. Uh, Poetry reading. For all of those who have bad habits, you can say that you won't do those things on the 29th, 30th, and 31st of this month since that doesn't exist. And um, we're going to get started with Doug Van Hooser. But first, I'm going to read a quick one that I penned earlier, and it's to set the poetical mood. It's called Noble Intentions, Writing Poetry While Making Breakfast. And the plan was to write a grand poem, the kind that would require a pedestal and perhaps some soft lighting. A glass of water stood nearby in case inspiration needed to dab its head and recover from all the greatness. But the interruptions were less grand. Coffee maker started spitting loud, steamy splurts of water, and the toaster popped up rudely without consulting anyone. And I, in a flowing white robe, as if I had been mistaken the kitchen for a Greek awards ceremony, cleared my throat and prepared a few noble remarks. And then I noticed a crumb on the counter, and I completely lost my place. I began to feel slightly overdressed and in poor company. Silly. I don't know where that one was going to go, but that's a fresh one. It'll probably get reworked before it gets published, but it's it feels too short. But thank you guys for that. All right, let's kick things off with Doug Van Hooser, please.
Maybe people could be sure they're muted so it doesn't flip away from the poet.
Mhm.
Hi,
Uh,
everybody.
Hi, Doug.
Uh, I'm gonna try and do screen sharing if I can. Well, it's taking up the whole screen, of course. Well, I'll just go ahead and read these. This first poem I wrote in the dead of winter on one of those days where you can't get out of the house. Hot cocoa. This year, snow drifts and dunes. The day is all short straws. The sun's morning alarm clock doesn't ring until after 7. The cold a wound, trees barren of all color. The wind utters constant complaints. Winter becomes an extended metaphor sunshine attempts to put a smile on. The sparrows argue, throw themselves like darts at the bird feeder. Squirrels snuggle in their nests. Boots trudge through drifts crunching potato chips. All movements andante with dynamics of shiver, blow on hands, and stomp on frozen surfaces. The nights redefine black, the moon and stars asleep with dreams of spring. Smoke curls from the chimney, loses its breath. The baseboard hot water heat clangs and clacks. I binge on chicken noodle soup, papoose in the house's warmth. Attempt escape in a book, words that can grind and slice routine. Patience bores me. Seasons sure take their time. And the second poem is in my No One Said series, and I don't want you to think that I lost my sense of humor, so here we go. No one said, lighten up. You're not a funeral director. Don't be as serious as a doctor visit, a 4 a.m. phone call. Quit writing poems that resonate like an obit. Try to pull a rabbit out of a hat and smile when it's a ferret. Be a public address announcer. Let everyone in on the joke you tell the barista. Get yourself some chalk and teach yourself hopscotch and scotch the notion tomorrow is soon enough. Quote the Georges, Carlin, Costanza, and George of the Jungle. Attempt to hum like a hummingbird and wail like a whale. Only put your neck on the line if you were a giraffe. When you meet the right girl, purr like a kitten so she gets in touch with how you feel. Turn over rocks so the opposite side feels the sun. Never fudge when you make fudge. Only draw a line in the sand in a sandstorm. If you quack like a duck, well, heck, act like a duck. Spread the conspiracy theory that you are the smartest guy in the room. Remember, eternity only lasts as long as you let it. And don't kid yourself. Even in the back row, you stand out like a black eye. Pardon me. By any and all means, get or borrow a life. Laugh. Thanks. I just brought the two, Glenn.
Get or borrow a life. That was great. Gloria, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gloria from upstate New York. Glenn, I had something that I had written, a little vignette that was going to be for the last time we got together, or two times ago, which is kind of like between a Christmas and uh, New Year's kind of thing. So I was going to sit it out unless you want me to read it. I don't know if we want to revisit holiday stuff, but it's up
Yeah,
to
why
you.
not? We're all friends here.
All
Heck,
right. All right. Let me see if I can bring it up. And okay. It's called Persimmons to Shoes, a vignette from Thanksgiving to Epiphany. Persimmons. Mom would buy one a week before Thanksgiving, let its skin ripen to sweet perfection. We'd share it, a ritual of holiday inception. Orange pulp sucked out quickly with mouths and fingers coursing juices, our special time together. Christmas Eve. Christmas is a season, not a day, Mom would say. She'd sing O Holy Night at midnight mass with tears flowing freely, our clothes lingering with the faint scent of fishes fried and perfume sprayed hastily. We'd run with icy cold toes from the chapel to the car, turn on the heater full blast while warming our hands into our thighs.
mhm.
Christmas Day. A tree in the bay window groans with the heavy weight of tinsel and shining glass balls. Beneath lay presents of every shape imaginable, and always a little something extra under the tree for my impending birthday. New Year's Eve. Eggnog sloshed with cheap whiskey, ashtrays filled with cigarette butts, and decks of cards ring in the new year at midnight and into daybreak, as one by one they retreat to a couch or a bedroom for sweet dreams of a good year to come. New Year's Day. The day wears into a lazy afternoon where a buffet appears on the dining room table. The guests from the night before graze with the promise of diets, saving money, and keeping in touch. A feeling of grandiose that their choices are good ones, resolutions that will never come to pass. January 2nd, a birthday celebration with a cake eaten greedily. I have to stay on my diet. I cannot eat another bite. The holiday is over, resounds in my ears. A circle is cut into the inside of the cake, and slices are made around it and passed. The cake circle gets put into the fridge until the cream separates and it is thrown out, much like their resolutions. January 6th. Shoes are filled with candy and money from the Good Witch, a reminder that Christmas truly is a season and not a day. I am fueled for the long days ahead as I embrace a new year, going forward with positive anticipation. Thank you.
That's fun. Okay. Did you have another one?
Nope, that's it. I'm working on
Okay.
a whole bunch of short stories, so I
Oh, that's
haven't
great.
done a lot of poetry.
That was nice. You took us places. That was really kind of felt like you were there. James, please.
Thank you, Glenn. Well, the news this morning was not happy news, as far as I'm concerned. People dropping bombs on one another. And it prompted me to find this poem that I had recently penned. So synchronicity is at work. Little preface to it. My uncle, Eugene Wilson Young was his name. He survived World War II as a B-24 gunner. He became a geologist after the war. It was a fine day, he told me, when he came up with a bright idea. This is my Uncle Gene's bright idea. Gene, we called him, had a bright idea. take home as many oil well core samples as would fit into his new Volkswagen Golf, a German-made automobile he swore he'd never drive, much less purchase. Put those on a lathe at his workshop and using carbon fiber sandpaper, polish them into lamp bases, some of which now adorn my abode's rooms, bringing the light he searched for years to share. Thanks. I've also been spending a lot of time with Rilke lately, and this was clearly prompted by several of his pieces. I'm still working on this, so the title of this is To My Decidedly Female Muse, whose name is somehow Hiram. You shattered my cage. You lit a fire to the fragrant wood and body of all the songs in me. In the fire of love where you burn, paradise is born. We watch the smoke rise. Love will tell you everything I don't know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I love the title of that. Whose
I
name
do
is
too.
somehow Hiram. That's a good
Got
one.
another one if you got time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. It's coincidental with the day. The title of it, I think I may have done this before, I'm not sure. Forgive me if I'm repeating. The title is The Day No One Died. There was a light northeasterly breeze all day, everywhere in the world. There were no sirens. In firehouses, first responders were surprised they had slept in as they ate pancakes. Donut shops were filled with the police who had nothing to do. The obit page was empty, replaced by an ad for air conditioners. And emergency rooms were filled with laughter all day. Doctors' offices were empty, as were school classrooms, while playgrounds were filled. Even the clocks quit ticking at all the banks. No ships sank, no fish were caught. It wasn't a special day in calendar terms. In fact, no one even noticed what day it was.
There you go.
There we go. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Let's hope the world sees a day like that
Yeah,
sometime.
let's do. Let's do.
David Anthony Sam.
Hello, all. The poems I'm going to read are from a new collection called The Grammar of Ash and Bone. Water in three states. Break free the ice, the cold, dark, impure, the old, late season, frozen with dirt and ash gleaned from where it has lain a long winter. Melt it into sacred fluid, water held solid now, ready, stained, but water that wends itself deep into the inches of earth that have warmed. Sublime mist rises where sunlight burns the dirty water, fluid to vapor by way of fog, hovering briefly above the spring ground. I am all three states myself, liquid in veins, vapor in word and breath, ice hidden deep within, waiting its time, certain, patient, kind. The conceit of the collection is that my wife and I are back in Michigan, where we both spent most of our lives, and we're further north, walking through an area of forest land that had suffered a forest fire recently. And it harkens to the campfires and some of the other forest fires that are increasing because of climate change. Walking where the fire ceased. The ash falls onto my clothes and hair, my steps raising clouds from the deer path. This hill must be climbed along the sudden clearing where fire came at last to its smoldering halt. White dogwood petals bend, dusted with the powder blown from the gray land to the northwest. I touch the white petals, leaving transient prints where my hand was blessed by the blossom, by the ash. And the title poem, the lake water lies still, gray ash blown onto its surface like a wool blanket, no longer eddying in the wind. If the surface were clear, if the sky were clear, the stark, dry bones of the scalded trees would reflect, drab skeletons along the shore, unleaved, bare, barren. You and I wear time as the soil and water wear ash. We study the scene written as a long sentence, its period marked by the end of sight at the sullen, clouded horizon. The prayer of our silence joins with the present unspoken, the absence of voiced birds, the stillness of wind, the bare limbs. We can turn back our steps from this way, retrace our path through what had been, memory written in this grammar of bone, limbs, and gray ash. We allow our unsaid words to ask forgiveness of the land, knowing it will resurrect itself, whether we say or do anything, whether we are witness here or absent now and forever from this or any other place. Venus rises in the east as we reach where we had begun, as if its weak light punctuates what no longer exists. We allow our reflections to stay within the quickness of our kiss. Behind us, the water lies, unreflecting in the night.
That's
Okay,
exceptional. Yeah, really
trying to,
exceptional.
where is the stop sharing button? Ah, there it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really like the enjambments in that last piece, your title piece, and the way that you have it's so inclusory, the way you use we and our to draw the reader into that poem. And the imagery and stuff. I mean, it really that poem is so well balanced. It really sucks you in. I can see why it was chosen as the main for that new. So congratulations on that new book that you have, and I hope to get a copy sometime. That sounds like a real winner.
Thank you much.
Linda.
Linda is here. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda in Wichita. I'm going to read three pieces from my Rhythms Told book. They're short. Every poem in this book has a one-word title. This one's called Mortal. A sunset veranda, river valley and hills beyond, a jumble of painted and carved expressions, lyrical statements, melted into a screen of trees. We must sharpen our understanding, develop sympathetic magic as we chronicle our dreams and ideals, sharply debate on success of things accomplished, realizing that while we may create verandas, we will never create sunsets. Next one's called Cry. Burn these chains, plant my garden without sin, invent the future without poisoning the air, put betrayal beyond reach, no damnation laid at your feet. Legend will regard us as the ones whose weary tears were shed for the grace of the world. The last one is called Armistice. The need for devotion, wisely kept, a brave journey we cannot preach. The letter in your grasp, a handful of coins. Carry your portents, well versed, spilling brave remarks. A courageous humanity is more than a matter of mere taste. It is a remarkable thing. Make sure all your treaties matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Mhm.
Always so solid. It's really everybody in this group, best group I've ever been part of. Emily, please.
Hello, my name is Emily. I'm in rural southern Oregon, 4,000 feet, near Crater Lake, if you've ever heard of that national park. I've got three poems, and I think some of the themes will be similar to what we've seen and discussed already. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Share. Yes. This one, we'll start with that one. Does everybody see that? Is that right?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. It's called Dad's Forest. There was a burial at the cemetery. Cars blocked all the gravel drives. I decided to wait an hour, drove to the top of the valley, up the lava plateau, the forest of minimalism. Few trees, little water, burnt yellow grass, and silence, no birds. I came back down, watched the horses, sheep, goats, green alfalfa under irrigation booms, all quiet, not like how his Chicago would have been as a resting place, with buses, trains, crowds outside the cemetery walls. Out here it's calm, just grass and a small tree, the cool wind northerly, clouds around, cows, fields, barns, rocks from old lava flows, for fences, property markers, foundations. It's peaceful in the fields below the forest at summer's end. Soon snow will fall on this gentle slope, softly, then hard, his gravestone buried deep.
Hmm.
So, yeah, my father died, let's see, it's 4 years ago now. Okay, so let me see. I have to do this again. Hold on. Let's see, not that one. This one, somebody was talking about winter and snow. Let's look at this. It's called Desert Snow. At nearly 5,000 feet, old snow sits in patches next to a rock, under one side of a bush. Thin, crunchy, deer prints remain for weeks. All around, the sun has erased the rest, the ground dry and hard. I sit in the warmth next to a small patch. We commiserate, barely move, watch shadows turn, but never leave the last cold places. My hips ache, hands stiff, my footprints mark a path, fragile imprint of my passing. I'm old, like the snow. We wait for spring, we will thaw together.
That's nice.
Thank you. And let's see, one more. This one. Share. I think that works. Okay. At 10:12 p.m. Trains arrive twice a day. The evening starlight often late. Cars idle in the gravel strip under floodlights. Wait for the beam cutting the dark. People step out with luggage. People step out empty-handed. Passengers step down burdened. Passengers climb up loaded. The exchange takes 8 minutes. Engines start up, headlights form an orderly line. Floodlights still shine. The platform empties. Again, streets deserted. Train whistle echoes. Feral cats resume. A homeless man, curled by the wall, never moves. Nobody sees him. The waiting room locked and abandoned. Thank you. That's it. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Very
it.
good.
So nice to be here.
Oh, so nice to be here. I love the imagery of the train and that light that you have. I'll just speak very briefly, but when I was when I was young, like 17 years old, I got hit by a freight train. I was driving in a car, and I was in a '77 Chevy Malibu station wagon, and the thing had a massive frame on it, and that if it would have been in any modern car, I would never have made it. But I was driving down this road in the middle of the night. I've often thought about writing about this. That's why it's on my mind about poetry. Um, it's coming up on this winding road in rural Indiana through the cornfields, and then there was this big slaughterhouse. It's this really long single-story building, and the cattle would walk in on the far end of the building and then come out in packages on the other side, and everything happened in there. They packaged it all up, and right on the other side of that slaughterhouse was a train track. I'm driving along with my friends, and we're listening to REO Speedwagon, and we're laughing and joking and having a good time. And then I see this beam of light, which is what your poem reminded me of, that this beam of light just shining right across the road in the middle. It was dark. And somebody said, I think there's a train track up here. Oh, and suddenly I put it together in my head. What I was seeing was the beam of this light of this train coming from behind this building that was hidden on the other side. And the building was so long, I never saw the train on the other side. And uh, at the time, I had a Camaro that I drove, and the girl's father insisted that I take the his Chevy Malibu if I was going to be with his daughter, or I was going to be driving a real car. And I slammed on the brakes, and then it just stopped on the tracks. I didn't know the car well enough to know how how long it took to stop. And I'll never forget that, everybody's okay. And I'll never forget that beam of light, whenever I come across a poem or somebody's writing and they mention that, it's it's like PTSD in my head. It all comes back. So I just want you to know that that poem really spoke to me, um, and I just enjoyed it so much, and I brought a lot of that as a reader to it. Uh, KB.
Oh, there but for the grace of God, right?
Mhm.
Gosh. So good to see you back again. I'm sorry for the reason you were out.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
First two poems I'm going to read were published in January House Literary Journal this month, earlier this month. Fever Dream. Words are birds that fly in and out of my mind, a cardinal of lush here, a bluebird of bright there. Plain little wrens sing a symphony, and fluttering wings bring siroccos and whirlwinds. What does the woodpecker tap except piñatas that burst into blossom? Words skip and sulk, a heap of lisping as we try to write, looping the trees for ideas to grapple into words we can plunder. And oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention I am in Northeast Tennessee. I'm looking at the North Carolina mountains as we speak. So if I keep looking out, it's because there are mountains there.
That's great.
This poem was also published by January House Lit Journal. Longing is my mother, and we are headed to the ocean to talk about my father, who just died. She grew up with him, knew him for more than half a century. 28,204 days holding hands. Salt spray stings our faces, but we still want the sea. He snorkeled and she surfed. They embraced the same things differently. Holding hands, 28,204 days. Each crest and trough of wave, a gentle rocking, a sharp slap of water, emptiness when it splashes away. Tears taste like the ocean we love. Holding 28,204 days in our hands. Sunrise, sunset stuns a flat horizon. Rain sweeps the distance. Sun glittering a surface that spools and roils below with tides, lapping shorelines of sand and pebbles and rock. Rough edges tumbled, shards smoothed and worn. One hand reaching out, the other letting go. And thanks. And this was published in the Orchards either December or January, I think January this year. You can't have it all. After Barbara Rath. You can't have it all, but you can have the autumn sun with long shadows that soften the buildings and spoons that gleam on the table. You can't have the flight of the bee or the sifting of pollen, but you can have thick sweetness, wildflower and sour wood gulps of honey. You can know the heavy purr of the cat, the dog's tongue licking welcome, but you can't staple a heart into place or plot a life of love that makes you happy forever. You can run your hands along the cool marble of gravestones, read the litany of names, know a family legacy. You can watch the balance of light and dark on a butterfly's wings, flicking above red clover, but you can't fly on thermals like eagles, wind lifting feathers with eyes that see for miles. You remember your father's hands reaching for you, strong and sure on the bicycle, and once you were steady and could reach the pedals, the memory of him letting go. There's this. Thanks.
Wow, that was good. Okay, here's a hard act to follow. I almost feel bad for you, Lynette, having to follow that one, but Lynette Esposito, please. That was so solid, KB. And thank you for sharing that. How delicately you handled that too. It was really sweet. You need to unmute yourself.
Hello, that was wonderful poetry. This is Lynette Esposito from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I had a couple people like my poetry enough to publish it. It's a theme of nostalgia, the rotary phone. In the very early days of telephone, there was a party line where people had specific rings. and knew it was a call for them. Anyone could answer and be still while they listened in. My grandmother was accused. If it were me, I would have listened in as well. But my first love was the rotary phone that I could dial. It had a light and a tone and a circle I could turn that made a tiny creaking noise like the background of a vinyl record. It is a collectible now, a decorative item that holds the memories of everyone who touched it, talked into it, and sat next to it while conversing. Alexis is just a voice in a box. And that's it. Since I'm in New Jersey, what I'm looking at now is snow and more snow. And after that, a little more snow. So I did a little poem called Dressing for the Season. Dressed in ice, the trees arch their limbs toward the sun in curves and question marks. Bejeweled, the ball ground shimmers like the finest silk. The tree, cocooned, waits for the warmth of spring, while it shelters hungry birds with their sharp claws encircling its dark, cold fingers like promise rings. And the final one was in an anthology. The theme was winter. And I always like to look at the deer on the side of the road. They're just always, no matter what, so beautiful. In the mist at the side of the road. The deer stand shadow silent in the twilight fog, watching, alert, then burst across like a devil wind is chasing them. Their hooves lightly dance across the ground. All disappear into the woods except for one, whose eyes, bright and round as a winter moon, glow. Beacons of hope and innocence, wild and free. And that's it.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. We've got two more readers, Peter King and Chris Wood, and we'll move to Peter, please.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
very well.
While people were reading, I should say, Peter King, I'm in a little village in North Oxfordshire, in England. And as I look out, it's dark and the church tower is floodlit. So that tells you my mood. While people were reading, I completely changed my mind as to what I was going to read. And I've called up a couple of poems about night, snow, and railways. So let's try and share that. So the first one comes from a sequence that's part of a sequence of sequences. This is the middle one, Stations of the Cross. They're not at all religious. They go back to my my childhood as an altar boy, but they just use these as starting points. So this is the third station, His First Fall Under the Cross. But there is snow here, and the black night concrete glistens where it is exposed. Somewhere on the empty length of platform there's a lamp. Down at the end there, by the driver's cab, just where the platform dips to meet the gravelled space between the lines. The whiteness of unmelted snow reflects a small lamp burning, picking out the platform as it slopes to where the chips of stone lie black between the sleepers. He is cold here, now between departure and arrival, and the one lamp at the station's end does little more than emphasize the way the platform dips down in an even ramp, and how the black wet concrete is eroded by the snow, becoming gravel where the sleepers mark the merging of the slope. His beard and moustache brittle with his frosted breath, his tears unfrozen. Standing here alone, the intercity link departed. waiting on an empty platform where the only lamps too far and dim. He stamps his feet, his breath a cloud, alone and lonely, drawn to the darkness where the platform plummets, where the sleepers lie on beds of stone, of little chips of black and glistening gravel, and the snow white in the crevices. And then when I came to write a new sequence, which is a sort of, well, I call it an unauthorized autobiography. Each page consists of one autobiographical poem and then one which is more abstract or general that somehow relates to it. And this relates back to that earlier poem. Black sleepers lie on beds of gravel painted black, and random bursts of spattered whitewash alternate with patches glistening of oil, like ichor lit from diesel demigods. The downline trembles, hums, drums drearily, and drab container after drab container slowly pass. The chill air scarcely shivers. So much has changed. The years have spent my capital and left me struggling. But this, of all things, stays the same. The platform, and the sleepers, and the cold night heavy on my eyes. And then last one, which was going to be the last one, which is from another sequence. I think I've read some from this before. Each one starts with the first line of a poem from one of City Light's Pocket Poets series. And the first line of this one, it seems a stage, is from Denise Levertov's The Gypsy's Window, from her book Here and Now. It seems a stage, and all the lights that flicker, causing intermittent fits, appear to form a prim proscenium. The night is made of artificial satin, presses in upon us, swaddles us in ersatz anonymity. Where the safety curtain falls, the dust of decades billows up in choking clouds of fallen face paint and disintegrated scripts. And we look hopelessly towards the wings, waiting for a prompt we know will never come.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Very, very good. All right, so we're coming into the last reader here, Chris Wood, and when Chris is finished, if you stick around for just a minute, I'll give you a prompt for March. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello, I am Chris Wood. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and these three poems were published in January in a magazine called Fresh Words Literary Magazine. Snow began the story. Do you remember when winter brought snow angels and snowmen, rolling snowballs into snow bodies stacked in tiers, each smaller, easier to pile on top? Fingers cold, nose red and running, hair matted under a stocking cap. Did you trudge through the backyard to where beagles huddled together in a straw-filled doghouse, built by a soon-to-be father when he and his wife moved into a red brick house outside of town? I was just beginning then, here, but not fully finished during the first months in their cozy home. They hosted Christmas dinner at the oak dinette set with avocado cushioned chairs. I made my entrance into the family the next day. Okay. Next one is reflection in a photograph. Beams of sunlight stream through the tiny window in an underused part of the basement. In the shadows between, a pile of family relics hide under a thick layer of dust and a tattered army blanket. I lift the moth-eaten wool, barely notice a spider skittering across the concrete floor. My eyes focused on a dark green metal box. Rusty hinges creak when I open the lid to my grandfather's military life. Medals, letters, and postcards from my grandmother, and a well-read miniature New Testament, his scribbles covering the inside, front, and back covers. Digging deeper, I find my reflection in a photograph of my grandmother at the age I am now, 27. Her hair fashioned in a long midi style, but my eyes stare back at me, a round face like mine, with lips curved in a smile I inherited from her. Written in the lower right corner of the photo, to my grandfather while at sea during World War II, an inscription, with love, XOXO. And this last one's called Measure of Memory. I remember the bend and curves of the galvanized furnace ducts strewn across the work table, just like I remember the shape and color of my twin bed and dresser. White drawers with silver knobs and a pastel flowered bedspread. I folded scrap sheet metal on the bending brake at Grandpa's shop, zigzag pieces to look like the pleats in the skirt that was part of my first suit made of tweed. It was for our middle school awards dinner to serve the football players while they received trophies, an honor given to the cheerleaders. I can still see his silhouette, Grandpa's, his aging body slightly bent over the work table, measuring with his folding wood ruler and drawing lines across new sheet metal. A cone-shaped lamp hanging from the ceiling rafters, the only light in the building's basement, save for the outside shining through the open garage door. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. All right. Well, that was February. It's in the books. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you for coming, Mike, and listening. Next, this coming March will be March 28th. The next reading, Lord willing, will be the theme road trip and bridges. So those are there in case you want to, but you're not wedded to those. You may choose to write a themed poem or not. Thank you all for coming. It was just so important to me this time. It filled me up. I've been emptying out for a month, and now poetry really, really is therapeutic. So take care, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next month. Hope to see you back here, Mike.
Thank you. Take care,
Yeah, bye,
everybody. Be
David. Bye,
well.
Linda. Bye, Gloria and Chris, Peter,
Bye.
James,
Adios.
Bye.
yeah. Bye, Lynette,
You know,
KG, Lynette.
Glenn,
All right, see ya.
last March you gave us a prompt